Hello everyone, here is a second video still on the metadata file which you have been sent. This video is just to help you understand the file a little bit better. So this again is your metadata file which has several sheets, as you can see beneath in the left hand corner, several sheets. The first sheet, which I showed you in the morning, talked about your field trip, and there was a first example which was provided, and then this is a second example which I have just added for further clarification, where you would see RO, which is a code for my name, Rachel Ojo, then the village in which I work, Basumja, the year 2019 is the first trip, and in column B you would see the time I spent in the field, which was May 13th through to 16th 2019, and then the third was the socio-linguistic survey of Basumjan village, which was the goal of the trip. And then having done this, I am sure that this second example would help you. And so there is a second sheet, session sheet, which you can see. This session sheet has several columns, and then in these columns you will find literature, a lot of literature, quite clear, which you would have to read, and it's going to guide you on what to write in each of these columns. So under the first column, column A, you will see session field trip reference. Just go back to field trip reference and put this reference which you put. You can copy and paste, so I will just put RO Basumjan 2019. So here you will just scroll down and you would find space to write it there. So I would write Rachel Ojo, I worked in Basumjan 2019, it was the first trip. So that's done, and then we have the session name, which, like this, there is literature here which will tell you what to do, how to name the file, how you named your file, that session, how you named that session. So here I'll put the name of the village, Basumjan. Then it was a socio-linguistic study. Then it was carried out by Rachel. It was the first trip. We move quickly to session title. How did you title that particular session? So ours was, again, we are going to put Basumjan, and then it was an interview. Basumjan socio-linguistic interview. Basumjan socio-linguistic interview. It was done by Rachel. First trip. Then when was this recording made? You see session date. Go back to this literature so that you're clear. Date of file creation. So that date for me was on the 16th of May 2019. Where then we have column E, session description. Where precisely was that a short description of the content of the session, or what precisely was it? Session description, it was in the house of the interviewee. It could be wherever you carried out your interview. So this particular data I'm filling in, it was carried out in the house of the head of quarter 3. I don't know whether it is called in English first notable, but in French it's premier notable. So I write in the house of the head of Porto 1, or the first notable. Location, country location. Here it was Cameroon. It appears here because it's already mentioned here. Location of the region, it was in the west region. Location address, you would see, you scroll up, you would see location address, the village and quarter, or geographic coordinates if you have any. So village and quarter. This was KPAAM-CAM. It was in Dumba. Okay, then we are on the I, column I. Choose one among the following. Was it a stimuli? Stimuli means, did you stimulate the consultant to provide data for you? Did you spur them by asking them questions, by showing them images? Did you make them provide information for you, or did they just went about normally like in natural discourse? So if you ask them questions or show them images, if you provoked them to respond to you, to give you some sort of data in this content genre, choose where you had to choose one of the following stimuli or elicitation. If it were elicit, if you ask, and you would choose stimuli if you did interviews, or you would choose discourse if you recorded natural conversations. So for sociolinguistics, we would choose stimuli because we did interview. Stimuli, we stimulated the respondents by asking them questions which they responded to. So we are going to use stimuli. Again, it's already mentioned here, so it just goes down. For the subgenre under column J, we have to choose. Again, I know the linguist did use a word list, so they may choose linguistic word list, and the sociolinguist chose an interview, so they have sociolinguistic interview, and the anthropologist would want to choose ethnographic interview. So because this data was a sociolinguistic interview, I'm going to take sociolinguistic interview here. So it's going to be sociolinguistic interview. And then the subject. What was the subject of? We are under column K. List all the subjects covered in the section divided by comma. So what was your center of focus? Were you looking at the socio-historical overview of the village? Were you making a socio-historical inquiry? Or in this case, the sociolinguists who were in Basumjan did a sociolinguistic profile kind of interview. So it's going to be just like what Christelle did. So it's going to be sociolinguistic profile of the interviewee, which just showed up. Then we have L here, as you would see, has to do with, you have to choose whether your data was an elicitation, like I already discussed with you. Was it an interview? Was it non-elicited natural recordings or recording of natural discourses? So again, our data was retrieved by means of an interview. So we have elicited here, which will just show up. And then for M, we want to know if where you collected the data was in a family setting, because M is context, communication context, or social context. So was it in public? Was it in the private? Was it in a controlled environment? So public would mean that you are in a house, let's say the palace, let's say the head of quarters house, in the presence of several others. Or but if you retired to a quiet place, to the home of a consultant, then you would choose private. If you're in a home of a consultant, just two of you, or you feel it was in a private corner, then you would have private. But if you were in the public, in the house of the palace, amidst others, then you have public. So this interview was done in the house of the head of quarter 1, so we are going to write public. Then the next column, which is N, has to do with column N. You have to choose one among the following. Was it a monologue? Was it a dialogue? Was it a conversation? Not a natural format. For example, elicitation. So interviews are not a natural format too. So if you did an interview, you could choose not a natural format, or you can just take interview. I am just going to write not a natural format, so it comes back. And then we had at O has to do with listing all the languages recorded in the session. So here my consultant used French, she talked with Ngozi, her own first language, which she called Xinjiang, the language spoken by the Basumjiang population, and she spoke Cameroonian Pidgin English, and she spoke Medumba. Yes, okay. And then the next column, you have, if you took a video file or an audio, please, here you have to write the name of that file. What is important for you to note is that you shouldn't alter the names you submitted in the hard drive in Basu, because if you alter any of those names, then we cannot locate your recording. So that we know the recording which you are talking about, you should maintain the exact same name which you submitted with your recording in Basu. Here, if you did a video file, maintain that same name. If you did an audio file, maintain the same name which you submitted into the hard drive in Basu. So for this particular data, I submitted a recording named KPAAM-CAM GEO Sociolinguistic Profile, quarter 3, and then the date in this format, 2019, it was the 16th, and it was the 5th month. Then we have other resources. Other resources have to do with ELAN, which you may not be concerned with for now. Then we move to the duration of your recording. This recording was 30 minutes, or I'll do this 00 hour, 30 minutes and 49 seconds. What device did you use to record? Did you use an iPhone? Did you use an Alcatel? Did you use a Huawei? Precise the particular device you use, so that just for further clarification, just so that we understand the quality of the video. This whatever we need to know the device that you used. The device I used is Zoom H4n Pro. That's the device I used. If you use your phone, just make reference to it. And then you have notes. Here you write notes. The notes have to help in understanding the recording that you have given. If you have further information which will clarify this other information you've given or the recording, then you write here. In this case, for this recording, the recording is 30 minutes. It's supposed to be longer than that, but it was short because we were pressured to come and eat with the rest of the population who had gathered and the other researchers and consultants. And so we ended halfway, and immediately they finished eating, the consultant was nowhere to be found. So I would say information incomplete, as consultant was pressured to to go and eat and was nowhere to be found after that. Just to explain why, nowhere to be found after that, just to explain why I didn't go through the questionnaire. Then the actor, the first actor here is Rachel, and then she was the researcher, and then the second actor was the consultant. In this case, who was Ngange Sani Angel. She was the consultant. So if I had many more consultants, I'll put actor 3. If her husband was by the side and discuss from time to time, I'll put his name here and put his role, maybe observer or something. But for now, there were just 2 actors. And so I would end there for the session sheet, and I hope this was helpful.